We turn the corner just a little bit, talk about many people actually struggle with how to go about a job hunt. There's a method not only to landing, but also to keeping the job of your dreams. I spoke earlier with recruiter, author, and speaker Jennifer Hill. America, thanks so much for being here. First, let's talk about the biggest mistakes that people commonly make when they are job hunting.
That's a great question. So a couple of the biggest mistakes that people make when job hunting is, number one, how they talk about their job hunt. At the average coffee shop on the corner, whether you're on the subway or the train, everybody has conversations about how hard it is to find a job. And if you notice, the people who always say, it's hard to find a job, I can't, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too this, that commonly creates that conception in the person they're speaking with. And what it does is they may not even realize it, but even by having those conversations with friends or associates, it comes across mentally in the job hunt. And so that way, when an employer meets with you, even if you might not negatively talk about yourself in the interview or how hard it is, it comes across at a subconscious level. So the most important thing that job seekers need to remember when they interview is attitude. Attitude times skills equals employability.
All right. No, go ahead. Your second thing?
Oh, so the second thing I was going to say that job seekers do is they don't know how to look for a job. And one of the techniques that I teach people is the 30-30-30 rule. 30% of your time applying to jobs online the old-fashioned way, Monster, Career Builder, Indeed, etc. 30% of your time leveraging your social network. People underestimate the value of tools such as LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and even Google Plus in helping get you hired. And then the last 30% of your time is traditional networking. 80% of all jobs are found via word of mouth. And it's not what you know, but who you know. Somebody wise once said that. So a lot of the people out there who we see who get hired, they hear about a job before it even gets to a recruiting agency like me, because people love to work with people who refer each other to them.
I want to go back to that second 30 that you talked about in your 30-30-30, the traditional way online with Monster.com and those kinds of things. You, of course, talked about the 30 of the traditional way, the networking, but that middle 30 of social media. You said don't underestimate the importance of social media like LinkedIn and Facebook, but how important is it, Jennifer, for people to go through their social media sites and scrub them, if you will, to remove content, pictures, information that might be detrimental to their cause?
That is a terrific point that you bring up. I can't tell you how many job seekers don't realize how much Google juice their Facebook profile has, or their tweets have, or their LinkedIn profile. And I think what you're referring to is if an employer Googles you, and if you think they're not Googling you, you're wrong, because they are eventually going to Google you. What they find out is oftentimes they can find out about sexual preferences. And even though that's not something that someone should discriminate against, I'll never forget, years ago, I had the vice president of HR of a huge Fortune 500 company, and we were sitting there discussing this applicant, and he told me, Jennifer, this person's perfect. We couldn't wait to hire them. But when we went to Google the person and start to do our due diligence on them, on the person's Facebook profile page, completely there for the whole world to see, it said hobbies S&M. Now, this was before 50 Shades of Grey came out, so they weren't very understanding about that. And even though the person may not ever know that's why they were passed on, you never know. It could be a midriff top picture. It could be, I've seen people with fake smoking a joint pictures. There's all sorts of stuff out there. Or on LinkedIn, there are only 2 times that a LinkedIn picture can really hurt you. I always tell people, please put a picture on LinkedIn, because as long as you look approachable, it's going to help you. However, if you have the sexy selfie, that is not going to get you hired because it's not appropriate for LinkedIn.
Let me jump in there, Jennifer. I want to get to a couple of more things before we run out of time. First of all, how common is it these days for employers, organizations to ask for an employee's passwords to these social media sites so that they can monitor them?
It's interesting that you asked that. It's not as rare that we hear it on our end. I own a legal recruiting firm out here in Los Angeles, so most of our clients are very compliant about making sure they don't delve too far in. But depending on the level of security and clearance that the person has, absolutely. If you're working for the government or you're working for a highly confidential technology company like Apple or someone like that, they can ask that, and you have every right to decline them, but it also means that you may have to pass up on that opportunity.
I'm down to the last few seconds there, Jennifer. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but I want to get one more thing in. Let's say someone sends a resume to a prospective employer. How often and for how long should they follow up when they've not heard from that prospective employer?
I would say once you've submitted the resume, 1 week following your initial submission, send a soft touch follow-up. Thank you so much. I wanted to circle back, see if there was further information that you needed from me. And then 3 weeks after that, so 1 month after your initial submission, you can do one more soft touch, but be careful not to badger people.
And that's very good information we received from Jennifer Hill. We thank her so much. And we thank you very much for joining us. We do hope you come back tomorrow for another edition of Arise America. I'm Debbie Turner Bell. Have a great day.